Welcome to Recreate with Canva, where we find a great design online and try to recreate it inside Canva to push the capabilities of the platform. Today's design, as with some of the best ones, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to manage to recreate, but excited to try. It is a beautiful branding job from a designer online. Let's see if we can recreate it. Let's get started. So today's design comes from Behance and a designer, looks like it was like multiple, from Centre Culturel. It was a branding challenge and they came up with this beautiful design. And again, this is on Behance, part of their portfolio, but very simple, where they have this series of posters and other visuals where the C of the logo contained the person and you could kind of see through it. There's some various colors around it. So I thought that was really fun, especially just the idea of a letter containing the person themselves, and then, the letter itself having some varying sizes and distance. So I wanted to see what we could do to recreate something similar. So let's get started. So right off the bat, what we're going to need is a C. So let's find a letter C. So I've just put it onto the board. I'm dragging it, going to make it huge, and we're going to find one that is almost a full circle. So nice and large. This could take some time. Ooh, that's not bad actually. I don't mind this one. And especially if we add in a little bit of extra sizing to the right side. So easy up. That part was fast. Let's go ahead and make that super large and put it here. So you, of course, could adapt this for your own colors, but for our sake, I'm going to just reuse this. Now, as always, I use the eyedropper extension in Chrome, where I can pick out any color from it. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this pink or salmon. It's a really nice color. We'll go ahead and use that for us as well. Grab that here. Let's add it to it. So as always, when you have a hex code, you can just paste it right into the top of the color, wherever you're adding it, and it will come up. And there we have it. Now let's go ahead and add the background. It's a very muted green-gray. Very nice as well. The designers obviously did a fantastic job. And again, I'll link to the work on Behance. I certainly suggest you check it out. Looks like they had some fantastic work. So let's go ahead and make the background color that. There we go. We have the basis. That is just a fantastic contrast of that sharp, pretty pink against that sort of muted, almost military kind of green-gray. Very cool. Now, for this effect, we're going to need a photo without a background of a person. I happen to have one. Now, I was able to use the Canva tool for removing backgrounds because I have Canva Pro. If you don't, there's a couple options for you. You can use, I have a whole different tutorial, which I can link to, about different ways to remove the background. But look online for background remover. There we go. Remove.bg would be an option for you. We can upload the photo, take it away. Microsoft 3D itself and Microsoft Paint has a way of removing backgrounds. PowerPoint does. There's a few options. As I said, I'll link to a video. I explain different ways to do it. If you have Canva Pro, even better. They have specific tools to remove backgrounds. In our case here, we're looking to add the person. In this case, it'll be me into it. There's one of my photos. We need, there I am, without a background. I wish I had one of me laughing that heartily, but it's only here. So we'll be curious here now. As you can see, the trick will be, and I'm going to show both ways. So it kind of seems like I can squeeze myself in well enough so that if we brought forward the problem persists. Let me bring this ahead. Let me show. So the problem would be right there. Let me bring a different color in just to really drive home the issue. There you go. That's a little easy to see. Hard on the eyes for colors, but just bear with me a second. You can see that purple there. So just given exactly where my bottom's cut off, it's going to be a little bit tricky to get me the right size while still showing it. And then now you can see there's a little tiny corner of me, and I'll exaggerate so we can see it better right there. So it'd take a little bit of massaging to get that exactly right. Looks like it can be done. The other thing I'd suggest though is, let's back up a bunch so we can get our color. Control Z is always your friend. There we go. Let's check out the frames. and see what we can do about an oval or maybe even a circle. Now, it's not important that my image takes up the entire oval. All we're going to try to find is something that has this circular bottom to it that's going to help us place it as we want. Let's see. So any of these kind of odd shapes might actually do it. It's always curious to me that there's no just straight up oval that I've seen within them, but that is okay. Let's first try one of these kind of awkward shapes and see if we can get away with that. We'll put it a bit on its side so it's more like an oval, and since it's already transparent, I don't care if this kind of blows out on either side. All I care about is kind of matching that bottom so that it's going to fit well. Okay, so now that the bottom part is there, let's go back to my uploads, find me. On a bit of, so it looks like it kept the it kept the angle. Okay, let's see if we can rotate me at all. Nope, doesn't seem like it's going to be letting me, so we have to laugh sometimes, right? That's too funny. Okay, so let's reduce this down. Nope, doesn't seem like that's going to fit for us. So this shape wasn't going to work. Let's go ahead and try a circle instead. And we need elements. Let's go with the straight up circle and see if we can make this work for us. So I'll have it take up as much of the space as possible. So actually, in fact, I'll make it instead go as small as possible so it's not trying so hard to get my photo to fit. I'll drag it inside. Okay, that's better. I do like when it was put onto the side. That was a riot. Okay, but now that that circle, I don't have that same problem with the corners of my photo are intersecting, and I'm a little bit more free to play around. There we go. I am now nicely sitting within the C. Now the last thing to do is like it is a very custom font that they use, a very custom C, and a beautiful work too. Really like how that sits. So let's instead see if we can thicken up the edges towards that of the C to be a bit more in line. So we're going to want to bring this out, then have it taper off. So we're going to be looking for some sort of curve that reduces. Now this could be hard to find, but let's see what we can. We're going to want to go into shapes. We need some sort of curve that's going to let us edit it. So the first thing to do, and this is where it's very useful to think about layering, where if you have a bunch of colors, a bunch of shapes, all of the same color that are stacked on top of one another, in aggregate, they'll just make whatever shape we kind of want. So we're not going to find an exact curve, but we're going to be able to put together a few shapes to achieve it. So what I'm going to probably do actually is take a square and let's apply that pink. I'm going to first apply that to, just to have it jut out a bit and make it thicker. Let's apply it there. There we are. Right, and now we can focus on just a curve and see where we get to. So that's a good start, I think. Okay, I'm bringing it down to the other side. Not quite. A little more up. Perfect. Now we got to find something that's going to go from this edge and give us a nice curve. So we need something with an angle. Now we might also search in lines. We need something with a curve we can apply inside there. Let's see. Curve, 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 curve. Seeing circles. This is kind of there, but it's a bit thick. So I'm not sure that's going to suit us. Let's see. Worth an attempt, I suppose. Grab the corner, bring it all the way down. It's kind of peanut shaped. Yeah, it's a bit of an off one, so not quite. Let's try out the lines. Let's even type, search can sometimes surprise you. Let's type out curve. Yeah, so that's we've used this curve before to good effect in design. I'm seeing an option to crop as well, so that might provide us with some solutions. And here's a thinner one, which again, because we can crop, it might provide us with some opportunities to achieve what we're looking to. This one's not bad either if I can change both colors. Oh, that's a additional paid one, so let's not bother there. So I'm not seeing any other great curve for us to consider. There's certainly some things there, but I think we might have some traction with the lines we just found. Okay, let's first try this one. We've used this shape before. It's really useful for adding to corners of a square, rounding out things. If we bring this way down, yeah, its problem will probably be because it goes... Yeah, the top is going to be probably too thick. So this is going to be close, but I don't think it's going to hit. Well, actually what's kind of interesting is because I forgot that there was this line here, that might be just about the most ideal. And in fact, I should remember to actually look at the source material to see how close we actually are. So we're going to be able to cheat a little bit. I'm going to sneak that right up there and create that same type of shape. Very cool. Now is it cutting? So in both cases it is coming wildly close to their heads and cutting it off. Now they're facing sideways, so it's less of a problem. So I'm facing forward. It seems a bit aggressive to have it actually bang on against my face. Bring that down so I can get rid of these guys now. So let's go ahead and make that the proper pink so it hides in. Yeah, see the problem there just being that there's a little peak up there. It's almost like I want to make it bigger, but I think what we can do here, this will be useful to use the crop. So let's get it situated properly there. And let's see if we can crop the top and then kind of keep that larger sizing. There we go. Very cool. Now I'm going to keep this because I have an idea for how we might make that look better. So I'm going to copy this new shape we've just done, paste it. We're going to turn it around and have it kind of squeeze into the side here. Oops, now I think I'm actually going to need to flip it. Yes, so because I was shaping it wrong. So I want to make sure it's lined up there on the left side, and then down, make sure it's lined up on the top. Now from what I can see, when it's lined up perfectly on the left here, and let's use our little square trick to make sure it's lined up. There that is. Yes, okay, so it is lined up, very good. When it is fully lined up, the bottom part of our C that we chose, and even the left side here, is a little bit off. So what we can do is add in a few more shapes just to fill in those gaps. Let's put that one there. Let's put this guy here. Just to fill in those small little gaps and make sure it's... Well, and there's that bold C, and I like it. Now theirs is a bit more modern as a full circle as opposed to the square. So two ways we could do that, that I'd suggest. And this is, more than anything else in Canva, you really need to unlock your creativity. One way to do that, copy, right? I can do anything to this thing now without having, like I've gotten to a place where I'm happy with it, but I want to play around and see what I can do. I copied it, everything about it, and now I can just play around. I can see what else is possible. What else can I do? What do I like? And that really just frees you up to play around creatively and see what you like, what way can you improve something. To really take advantage of the digital space where you're not encumbered by having, limited physical paper. You can just create as many as you want to. So put that here, and then I need to bring that up. Yeah, because one of the options I want to consider is what would it look like if it's actually kind of squared off. I think that looks kind of cool, honestly. Let's make sure those parts line up, and we'll take that all the way to the end. Looks like it's going to give me a bit of a bother, so I'll tell you what, let's try to squeak it over with the arrow keys so it lines up nicely. And then this side, I'll extend because that should snap to my shape. So okay, so that's one way to do it, where we, instead of having it rounded off, we actually really buy into the blockiness of it and build those big ones. But let's try another one where let's duplicate this again. I am curious if we go kind of full on follow of what they're doing with the nice round shape, and let's get rid of that shape. And again, we're going to use the same trick to override it. So all we're going to do, so create that. We're going to have to play around with this curve to make sure it's big enough. And in fact, looks like if we crop it, it's going to help us a little bit. Just to focus on the curve. And then we're going to have to, shift it, scale it until we get it where we want it to be. But all we're going to do is we're going to mimic the background color. There, it looks like if we'll be served to there we have it. And that just continues the slope. Now I can see almost a bit of a lump there, but you can, if you're doing this on your own for your own purposes, obviously spend a bit more time to get that exactly perfect. Now we'll flip this thing around and do the same thing here. So we've taken the curve, we've taken the background color, and we're going to use that to cut off the feet of the sans serif font, which enables us to more closely resemble the actual design of it. So making it a big, huge C. Very cool indeed. Now, as part of their design, they actually had, and then, now that you have both of these options to look at, you can, just flip back and forth. Which option do you like the best? If you're working with a client, you can send them all of it. It's like, I've come up with 3 variations. Which do you prefer? And go from there. I tend to prefer this, I think, and kind of sticks closer with their design. So let's go ahead and finish it up. So they have the nice color here at the bottom going all the way across. It's intersected with that shape we had added. So I'll bring that to front. And it looks like it actually kind of bites into the bottom of it a little bit, which is kind of a nice subtle touch. Tell you what, I'll make this a little bit bigger. There's a lot of shapes going on to achieve what we've achieved. I'll grab this all, group it, and move it around and just make it a little bit bigger. It takes up a bit more of the space. There's that. It's always fun as a designer to be working on your own photo and you just have to kind of stare at your own smiling face for some amount of time. It's even worse if you're ever doing photo editing in something like Photoshop. You're just staring at your own nose and eyes as you're making some edits to it. So at this point, they got a nice little bit of font. 2 parts of font, one going up vertically, one here. There's obviously the logos there too, but maybe I can find a logo of mine. The purple is going to not sit too well with that, I don't think. Well, it's not too bad. Tell you what, let's put that over there. Let's find some text. It is a big thick one, then it is a thin one having the same type of curve to it. Let's see what we can do about heading. Now, fortunately, any text that you've used within Canva, including this big C, is going to be listed at the top. So I can refine that C. So if I want to say you, let's see, is it all capital letters? It is too. You can, I'll type it in smaller letters and then use the capitalization tool, just in case I change my mind. It'll allow me to easily jump back and forth. And then design. Oh, so actually now the second word is the one that has the serif font, the one with feet. So let's respect that. Position, left. This will be sans serif, a kind of simple trick. Open sans, if you're just looking to get something out and not really think too much about it, open sans tends to work with just about everything. It is a very versatile font. It also has light to extra bold, so the thickness of it is really varied. So you can design. Tell you what, and I see a little kind of continuing their circle theme, which is very cool. I see it just over top of the L. Let's do the same. Curve. So let's go with this here. It needs to be white, and then we're going to need to crop it because I think it is only about a half. we'll bring it way down. And we'll sneak that there. Let's make the word design a bit more prominent. Whoops. Did I do something? I didn't. Okay. I thought I had an errant click, but that's all right. There we have it. So let's grab that. Let's unselect that. We'll group it. It's going to be easier to move around. It sits just in the corner. Now, I'm not finding that very legible. It's nice and legible because they have that really great kind of single colored shirt. Makes it a little bit easier to read. Mine, because it's so varied, is a little bit harder, so I might go ahead and place it over here instead. And then some other bit of word. I'm going to just type in my logo again. Let's go with a heading. It is half of one font, half in the other. So to do that, we'll have to duplicate it. So I'll get rid of that. Then we'll duplicate it. Clicks are not working for me. That's okay. Now the second word is the serif font, the one with the feet. So we'll go ahead and add that. I'm going to go ahead and lock this because I just keep threatening to click it and move it around that I just really don't want to. Okay, first part of the first one, we'll go with a light. And now we're going to have to play around. Now this is important when you're using with fonts because you're going to find that despite the fact that they are technically the same size, because they are different fonts, the actual height of it is different, the size of it visually. So, it's always important to look at it visually to see what the heights are and make sure they match if you're doing something like with mixing fonts. Okay, let me group that. Just to be edgy, we'll have it go like that. I wonder if there's anywhere I could put it. Maybe if I was willing to put it on my face, which I think is a bit of a sin with design. Okay, we could also grab a square. Last little riff on it. Grab a square, make it pink. One of the best ways to make something visible if you have it over top of a complex photo is always putting a bit of color behind it, just a splash. I'm kind of curious if I do that here, and then if I make it transparent so we still see the photo, am I losing the charm too much of what was put together? Put that there. Let's see about... I don't mind that too much. I think you'd be well served to go either way, but for my purposes, I think I'll do it like that. And there we have it. So with taking a letter, ensuring that it is blown up and then super big, to get the exact shape that we wanted, we then layered a bunch of other shapes on top of it. First, the same color as the letter itself, so we could extend and warp that shape where we needed it to, but then also of the background, so we could hide parts and further sort of shaping it. It's really just adding things on top or subtracting from it by layering things on top. And in this case, we have 6 or 7 different squares and shapes that we've used to kind of get to the final shape that we wanted. After that, we combine some text, making sure that the visually lined up despite the actual size of it not going, taking the color from the design itself, and ending up with a fairly good riff on this beautiful design from Centre Culturel. So, hope you saw something you could use in your own design, and with a bit of tenacity and a bit of creativity, just about anything is possible in Canva. Cheers to your great looking work.